them, but I knew something. I knew that my friend did this one strategy, and so I decided to copy that. I was like, he did bandit signs. Okay, I'm a night owl. I had like little to no money, so I'm up at night all the time. And he was going out putting these signs out at night, and I was like, if he could do that, I could do that, right? And so I went on banditsigns.com. I bought 100 bandit signs, and I was gonna do the same thing he did.
I'm sorry, you bought what, 100 what?
Bandit signs. It's like the ugly yellow "We Buy Houses" signs. You ever see those signs?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I bought 100 of them. It was like $190, and came to my house. I thought I was smarter than my friend, so I was like, I'm gonna go out at night during the winter storm because it was during the winter break, you know. And I figured we were going out at night. Well, he was going out at night because he didn't want to get seen putting these things up. I didn't either. But if I do it during the winter storm, the likelihood of somebody being out is going to be even less, right? And so big storm was coming. I went out, put up my first sign in front of Walmart. Walmart has a lot of traffic, so I thought that was a great intersection to put the sign up. Second sign was I saw this gas station I really liked. Put up a ladder. I had a ladder because I want to put it high. Because I read up a lot on like how these signs get knocked down. So if you put it up high, you know, the likelihood of getting knocked down is less. So I climbed this ladder. As I was putting up my second sign ever, a police officer out of nowhere shows up. Okay, he pulls right up behind me, and he's like, "Son, what are you doing?" And I didn't know what to say. I was so scared. I was in shock. I was like, "Officer, I was taking the sign down." and he was like, because I didn't say I was putting it up, so he didn't give me a ticket or anything, you know. I was so scared. He was like, "Son, it's like there's a storm outside. Get out of here. Go home." I'm like, "Okay, officer." I climbed down, put the sign in my car, put the ladder in my car, sat in the car, and I was like thinking to myself, I'm out of business. Okay, I bought 100 of these signs, and already the second sign, I already got busted, you know, because they're illegal. Right? And I called my girlfriend at the time, and she just said, "Look, go out." You know, she said, "Look, it's funny. It happened. You didn't get a ticket. You didn't get in trouble. Just go out, put up the 100, okay?" And I was so scared. It took me like 4 hours to put up 10 signs that night, and I kept putting it up day after day until I got rid of it. From the 100 signs, I got over 150 phone calls.
Wow.
Okay. I'm going to answer your question in a second. I got calls from the police, from the township, from the fire department, but I also got calls from people that were really motivated and that really, really wanted to sell their house. Okay, and I will tell you that you have never met a motivated seller until you met somebody that's begging you to buy their house. Okay, there's this thing called negotiations where like, oh, you're negotiating with the seller, and then there's this thing called a motivated seller, where they're like, "Please, Nick, I don't care what price you buy it for. You can take the house from me. You can take over my payments. You can do." They're convincing me to buy. So that's a different type of seller. Would you guys agree? Yeah. So there's like a game of like knowing how to negotiate and connect with people, rapport and all that stuff, and negotiate with people. And then there's a game of just meeting motivated sellers. And when you meet a real motivated seller, you don't have to have skill or art or strategy. It's a totally different person, okay? And from that, I was able to flip enough deals. I flipped like my first deal, I would say like three months later, I made 50 grand, and then after that, I made 80. After that, I made 100. So like that was 2007, okay? And so that's how I did it. That's how I got started. I'll answer your question now.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. These signs, they say something like, "I'll
We
buy
buy
your
houses.
I'll buy your house."
It says "We Buy Houses." That's
Okay,
it.
okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And my greeting was, so I had the "We Buy Houses" wording on top, my number below, and then it says "Avoid foreclosure" below it. And because I'm a night owl, so I never pick up the phone. And I also don't like picking it up for whatever reason. I think it's because I don't like people controlling my schedule. And so my greeting, I had like a burner phone because I didn't want to get caught by the police, you know. So I got one of those prepaid phones from like Walmart. Put in like, there was this plan at the time where it was like if you buy the $100 plan, the minutes last for the whole year. But if you pay only like $25, it only lasts for a month. I thought that was like dumb anybody would buy that, but I guess people that don't have enough money, that's what they buy. But so I bought the $100 one. I got 1,000 minutes on it. I made a lot of money with those 1,000 minutes. Okay. And my greeting was, "Hi, my name is Nick. I'm interested in buying your house. Give me your name, phone number, property address, and the most important question was reason for selling. And I'll call you back within 24 hours." Okay. I don't call people back that just want to sell their house. They gotta say something like, "Hey, I'm going to foreclosure. I'm going through a divorce. I just lost my job." Like there's some sort of hardship. You guys what I'm saying? And from that, that's who I call back. If it was just, I just want to sell my house, that's typically like a very retail type buyer, seller type deal. You can call them, like in the beginning, you don't get that much traction, call them, just practice interacting with them. But I would tell you that when you meet a real motivated seller, you can be totally a noob and it'll still work out. Okay? So I'm going to start with the big picture, or the most important thing of wholesaling, and then I'm going to get into making it more and more like advanced and complicated. But the goal is really to answer all your questions. Okay? The whole concept of wholesaling is really just finding really good deals and putting it under contract correctly. As long as you put it under contract correctly, there's many ways to make money with it. Okay? That's really it. So we're going to talk about how to find deals in a little bit. We're going to talk about the hardest part first. Like the part that like I feel, for whatever reason, like people don't want to teach it. It's because I think so they want you to sign up for their course, right? But I want to just share it with you. It's really really simple. If anything, people overcomplicate it. By the way, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant, so I'm not giving you guys like tax or legal advice. I'm just telling you that this is how I do it. Okay. So let's say you find a deal. Let's say you meet a motivated seller. They want you to buy their house. It doesn't matter what the price is, right? The first step you got to do is you got to agree on a price, right? And then you got to do what's called put it under contract. Okay. So what does that mean? That means that you have to get a sales contract. It could be even on a napkin, as long as you write it, right? It just says the seller is selling their house, the buyer is buying their house. Okay. There's an agreed upon price that you're going to buy it for. Okay, I typically will put like 30 days to close. Okay, so 30 days for not to close, sorry, 30 days due diligence, right? And then from there, your signature, their signature, and the date of you guys signing the agreement. That right there is officially putting the house under contract. I'm not sure if New York requires like a consideration. If it does, it's probably like $100. Okay, so for New Jersey, we don't require a consideration. What consideration means is like this. You guys ever go buy a car and for whatever reason you decide you're not going to buy this car right now, you want to leave, but you want to save the car. So that way you can come back like in a day or two. If you want to buy it, you can buy it. You guys follow what I'm saying? So if you put down like, let's say, it's not down, but you put like $100 down or $100 there or $1,000 there, it allows the dealership to consider holding the car for you. That's called consideration. Okay, it's called earnest money as well. And so in New Jersey, you don't have to have any earnest money or consideration to make the contract legal and binding. I think for New York, it's probably like minimum a few dollars. So I would just put like $100. And from there, let's say I'm putting a house on a contract for $600,000. To make the contract legal and binding, I got to give them some sort of money to make it legal and binding. Okay, so that's called consideration or earnest money. And so just give them $100 or a few dollars. That's it. New Jersey, you don't have to do anything. Same thing for PA, it's minimum $1. Questions?
So that's an assignable contract.
No, we're not talking about assignable yet. Right now, we're just talking about putting it under contract. Okay, we're not talking about how to convey it yet. Okay.
It has a time period on that too, right?
Well, 30 days.
Okay.
Right? Because I asked for 30-day due diligence. So what that means also is like within that period of time, if I for whatever reason don't like the property, okay, I could get a refund and get out of the deal. Questions? Ask the questions, guys. Any lawyers in here? if there's a lawyer, tell me about the consideration thing, detail for New York.
This is different than an option to buy a property.
That's not an option, this is not an option. This is a contract where you have the rights to buy it.
What happened, sorry, what happened if the person like just don't follow the contract or whatever, sell for somebody else for more money?
So, no, we'll talk about how to protect your position
Okay.
after, okay? I'm just giving you like the basic roundup of what I've covered.
Okay, and if you don't buy in the 30 days, do you get any, like, do you lose anything or whatever?
Well, you can lose your earnest money.
Okay.
Are you gonna cover how to find these properties,
We're
like
gonna get
through
that
prop stream
We're
or?
gonna get there.
Okay,
Yeah. Because this is the part that no one talks about,
yeah.
okay? Go ahead.
So just to clarify, 30 day due diligence, just saying that as the buyer, you have 30 days to change your mind.
30-day due diligence mean, as the person that has his house under contract, you can do whatever you want. You can change your mind, you can ask for an extension,
As the seller or the buyer?
no, as the person putting it under contract. So when I say put it under contract, I mean that you met a seller that wants to sell,
Right.
and you're now writing a sales contract, okay? And you have agreed upon sale price with them, and you put that you have 30 days due diligence, okay? When you have 30 days due diligence, that means within those 30 days, you can do whatever you want. You can cancel it, you can continue buying it, you can ask for an extension of that time, but whatever you want to do, you have to do within those 30 days, okay?
This is a sales contract?
Yes.
That's a, what is it, a Bloomcraft, a typical contract?
I mean, I can write it on a napkin.
Okay, it could be as informal as that, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It just has to have the most important points. Seller wants to sell, buyer wants to buy. There's an address. There's a proper, agreed upon sale price. Some sort of consideration was conveyed, signatures, and a date. Go ahead.
New York has stricter requirements, really?
You know, I've worked with realtors and lawyers in New York. They all say that they have stricter requirements and things like that, right? But at the end of the day, it all comes out to be the same. And we actually do deals in New York. I'm just not on top of the amount of money that is considered to be consideration.
Yeah, it might be a little bit more than.
It's not.
100 now.
No. So you have to understand, like, realtors, their game, when you, like, let's say you buy deals from a realtor, through a realtor. Okay, so we flip houses through realtors as well. The realtors, in, like, let's say a really high income area, they're gonna typically ask you to put up what's called earnest money. Okay,
Yeah.
when you put a contract on a house on a contract, they require you to put earnest money. Because it's a higher income area, they're gonna typically ask you for a higher earnest money. You guys follow? Okay, and then in a low income area, they're gonna ask you for a low earnest money. But the truth is, the minimum amount of earnest money is actually 0 in New Jersey. Okay, and so there's no real minimum. I think in New York, its minimum is $1. Okay, but everybody's gonna ask you for a different amount depending on the area. Can you guys look to see what the minimum earnest money is for New York? Or ask Scott, see if he knows it. You guys follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a game. It's a game that everybody's playing, where the goal of the realtor would be to, the more earnest money you put up, the more vested you are likely to actually execute the transaction. Okay? But the thing is, if you know what you're doing, you would know that earnest money is something you can get back, as long as you get out of the deal before the due diligence period is over. Down payment money is different. Down payment money is something that you normally put down once you're out of return of review or out of even what's called due diligence. And that's when it's like, if you can't close with financing, it's unless there was a clause for you to get out of contract, you're losing it. Okay, go ahead.
Do you have to specify what you have to put the due diligence for?
No. Wait, you know the minimum?
Yeah, it's $10 to $100.
There you go.
Oh.
For New York.
Oh,
But you'll never hear that
Yeah.
from your accountant, or not accountant, lawyer, or realtor, especially realtor.
They started fine,
I'm sorry?
They started fine,
Yeah, but whatever, you know, it doesn't. You can put $5,000 down for $1 million house.
No, I know, but I'm saying they usually started fine.
Yeah, yeah. But also be mindful that there's customaries in the business, right? Meaning, like, in a high income area, it's customary that they're gonna expect 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever. And so you might look suspicious to them as a, not a real person if you say things to them like, oh, I just wanna put $1 or $10 as earnest money. So you have to be mindful, like, so like, what I'm trying to say to you is, I'm sharing with you what's called the real game, and then you also have to be aware of what everybody else is playing, so that when you fit into their reality. Because if you don't fit into their reality, they're not gonna give you the opportunity. And if you don't get the opportunity, you can't make money with it.
Does the buyer have to be you personally, or can you represent an LLC that you have?
So we're gonna get there. I'm just, right now, just at putting it under contract. Okay, and then I'm gonna show you how like flip it and things like that. Okay?
So you have to find a buyer within that 30 days? Or
Yeah, you would.
You have to find a buyer.
Yeah. Okay, and if you can't, ask for an extension of the time, or get out of contract. Everybody good? Okay. By the way, Greg, I think you're an agent in New York, right? I should have just asked you. We didn't have to ask Scott. Don't worry. Okay, so this is what's called going under contract. Okay, so you have all those details filled in. That's considered under contract. The problem with the contract that we just did is this: we didn't add the words what's called an assignable contract. So if you want to make it assignable, you got to say your name. Let's say I'm buying it as Nick Tang, so it will be Nick Tang, and then the words and or assigned, and that would make this contract that I can convey to somebody else through what's called an assignment agreement. And all an assignment agreement says is this: Nick is transferring all his rights on this sales contract, written on this date, to X for whatever fee. And that's it. There's, like, when I was like a newbie wholesaler, I thought the assignment contract was like some special, really special contract. But all it does is it just says what is going on and how much I'm getting paid to transfer my rights over to this person. That's it. It's really simple. Anybody can write it. If you want to be extra safe, get your lawyer to write it. He's going to charge you extra, but that's what he's going to write.
One paragraph.
It's literally one paragraph. Yeah. Now, if there are levels to making assignable contracts, like so, for example, if I lock up land, right, and I'm going to be selling it for approvals or things like that, those contracts I normally lock up for a lot longer than 30 days. I'll lock it up for like 3 months, 6 months, right? And by the way, I'm not saying to not use a lawyer. I know what I'm doing, and I still use a lawyer. It's just I want you to know the essence of it. The essence of it is really, really simple. Okay. But like, let's say you're doing a land play, you're going to typically ask for on a land contract 6 months due diligence versus 30 days. Okay, and because you now have 6 months rights to this contract or to this deal, when you do an assignment to somebody else, transferring them the rights to figure out what they want to figure out, how to make money with it, you can I would put a restrictive window of time. Because when you say you're going to transfer all the rights over, what happens is you're giving them the 6 months when you don't have to. You guys follow what I'm saying? So in my assignment, I would say, hey, I as Nick is going to transfer my rights for this contract, but I'm being restrictive, and I would only transfer 30 days of time or 60 days of time. So that way they actually do whatever they need to do to get it done. And then if they need more time, you can charge them a fee of sort for an additional 30 days. So you don't have to, what I'm saying is the assignment contract allows you to change up the transfer, the rights of transfer. You don't have to transfer all your rights. Instead, you're limiting things from them. So like, I could have a contract where I have the right to do financing, but my contract rights to the buyer is cash, or it's hard money only. You guys follow? So I'm being more restrictive with that. Okay. So in essence, as a buyer, person going under contract directly with the seller, you wanna have all the rights in the world. But when you convey it, you wanna be restrictive on how much you convey. Okay? Go ahead.
With getting a lawyer too, you have to be very picky of who you choose, because what if the lawyer?
The best lawyer is a lawyer that you would tell them what you wanna do,
No.
and you ask them how to legally do it.
Oh,
You follow?
No.
Because I hate the lawyer that's like, oh, you can't do it that way.
No.
Okay? And then not tell me how to do it. Right? I'll tell them, look, I want to be able to go under contract with the house, and if I for whatever reason need to get out of contract, I can and not lose any money. Tell me how to do it.
And how about the payment part, like a lawyer gets a fee, how about?
Yeah, they're typically cheap. They're cheap. They're normally flat fees. If you work with a lawyer long enough, they're not going to charge you for like BS stuff that doesn't close and things like that. We're good? Okay, so NR sign is a way to, as you put your name NR sign, you can easily sign a contract and get paid for it. That's it. As for the problem, so the concept of NR sign is a great concept. If you locked up the house, or if you found this opportunity directly with the seller, meaning like you did some sort of marketing strategy, or you met a seller somewhere, or you met somebody directly, and you guys cut a deal, and you put on a contract. You can put NR sign, and it'll go under contract no problem. The reason why is because there's no one else in between you and them trying to do the deal. You guys follow? Now, if you're doing deals through what's called the realtor community, okay, you can't use NR sign. Because when you lock up deals on MLS or through realtors, when you put NR sign, your name NR sign, or even an LLC NR sign, the realtor community looks at that as, hey, you're a flipper. And so that raises a red flag to them. And because they classify you as a flipper, they look at it as, I've worked with other flippers, many flippers in the past, and they never close. Because those flippers never locked it under contract for the right price, or we don't know why, right? But they didn't close. And because of that, it creates a bad reputation for us in the realtor space. And because of that, their broker will say, don't submit the don't give the contract to the seller to sign. You guys follow? So if you're going to be wholesaling deals from the MLS or through the realtor community, you have to do something else. You have to do an LLC, okay, or a corporation, meaning you have to put the house under contract to an LLC or a corporation. And what you're going to do is you're going to sell that LLC or corporation. You guys follow?
It's an LLC you established just for this transaction?
Yeah, that's a great question. The answer is yes. This is an LLC you established just for this opportunity. The reason why is because if you have like your dream name LLC, putting this deal under contract, and you actually now have a buyer that wants to buy it, you don't want to sell your dream name LLC. Am I right?
Especially Elijah LLC.
That's actually available. But did you get it? Like you don't want to have like your dream name LLC and putting this house under contract, because then you're going to sell it and then you're like, oh my God, I made a lot of money, but I don't have that name anymore. Okay.
So you can just basically put the address. And
Yeah, so
LLC.
the way I do it is like this. So, so to save you guys some money, I'll give you guys another tip. So the way I do it, I would put Nick Tang. Okay. Then the word or, LLC, to be formed as the buyer. Okay? When they ask me like, Nick, why do you write it like that? I would tell them, well, the reason why is because I don't want to create the LLC and then actually don't have the deal under contract. Right? Like I don't want to have to create the LLC and then submit the offer, and because of that, let's say they don't approve it, or we couldn't agree on a price, and then I just wasted my money creating an LLC. Okay? The
But you have to form the LLC within the 30-day window.
Yeah, within the 30-day window,
That
yeah.
can be done.
Yeah, but until then, the obligation, like I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not trying to teach you guys law, right? But to what I'm aware, it's like, I have the obligation from now until that LLC is formed to buy it, okay? And so that's what I get it. You guys get that? So people don't teach this because a lot of people are not aware of it, or they just want to like keep it in their back pocket so that when you sign up for their class, and then you can learn it. But typically, people are doing this: LLC street name, not even Nick Tang or LLC. It's LLC street name as the buyer. And then when you submit that as a buyer, the realtors will typically ask you for articles of incorporation, meaning that the LLC exists, proof that the LLC exists. You guys follow? Okay, and then so you got to go and create that in advance to be able to make the offer. Whereas this way, you don't have to have anything created. You don't have to spend any time or money creating an LLC of sort before putting it under contract. Questions?
That's because it says or.
Yeah, exactly. And I told you why, right? It's like, because I don't want to create the LLC and not get you actually on the contract. We're good? Okay. So if you're doing like a deal where it's an MLS deal or it's a LLC type of deal, do it this way. It's going to save you money. And let's say you do find a buyer that wants to buy. Okay. The way I do it is I would tell the buyer's lawyer. I would tell the buyer's lawyer that I didn't create the LLC yet. You guys follow?
Say again?
I would tell the buyer's lawyer that I did not create the LLC yet, because the LLC can be anything. You agree? You guys see that? It didn't say a specific LLC. Okay? And I would tell them, look, I'll let you create it. Okay? But I want you to add me as a member on that LLC. Okay? And the way I'm going to get paid is you're going to buy my membership interest out of the LLC. Now, the reason why I tell the buyer's lawyer all this is because if I'm talking to the buyer's lawyer, it's his job to do what? To do everything that they can to make the deal safe for the buyer. Would you guys agree? For their boss, right? And if I tell them this, okay, they're gonna make it safe for them, okay? But at the same time, I'm not spending money on creating the LLC or corporation, right? And if I create the LLC or corporation, what happens is, you guys don't know this, but typically they have to do what's called a UCC search, which is like a title search against the LLC. Okay? And at times that would take like a week or 2 weeks longer. Whereas because they are creating it as a brand new entity, they know it's brand new, they know there's no liens or anything against it, and because of that, it'll get done in like a few hours. Okay? And it's really easy. Once they create it, and once they write the document that says like you're going to sell your interest over for whatever fee, just get your lawyer to look at it and make sure that you like it, you agree, and that protects you. And well, but honestly speaking, like if you read it and you don't understand it, something's wrong. You guys follow what I'm saying? Okay. So if you read it and you don't understand it, get a lawyer or just tell them I don't understand. I need you to change it so that way I understand it. The reason why I'm very familiar with this is because I actually do deals in New York, New Jersey, and PA. And PA and half of New Jersey are deals and closings where there's no lawyers involved. And so I have to do this myself. And because I got good at it, when I work with lawyers, at times it's like they're not even doing any work because I know how to do it. Okay? But it's really, really simple. Remember, your lawyer's job is to work for you, not tell you what to do. You're supposed to tell him how you want it, and he has to tell you this is how you do it. Okay? That's their job.
Yeah.
Questions? Go ahead.
Do you have to use an LLC?
Do you have to use LLC? If you want to do deals on the MLS or through realtors or REOs, you would.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because like I said, you can't use an or a sign unless you're gonna flip the house to a person with the exact same name as you. You know what I'm saying? You can't use an or a sign on MLS. You can use an or a sign in the regular, like, direct to seller community, because those people, like a regular seller, they don't know that an or a sign is an indication that this person could potentially flip the contract. Do you follow? And because of that, they will allow you to put on a contract. But the realtor community, they are very familiar with it. Even though it's not illegal to do, okay? Their books even say it's not illegal. But it's just the community hates the people that do it, because a lot of times they don't actually get it done. And so they feel like they're wasting their time working with you, and they're not gonna get paid. Go ahead.
Would the sellers, if you put that, an or a sign in the contract, and the seller would go back to their attorney, assumingly.
That could trigger a flag too, yeah. So you have to kind of gauge. So the way I would do it is like this. The only people that hate us are the realtor community. Meaning because they haven't panned out, so many people have not panned out on deals, that's why they hate us, okay? The lawyer doesn't really hate us. What the lawyer will say is, hey, my client, Nick might actually flip this deal, are you aware of that? Okay, and so since we are aware that they could say that, we can tell them, hey, I'm gonna put this house under contract, okay? And I'm gonna see if I can buy this house. Worst case, okay, I'm gonna flip it to one of my partners. Is that okay? Like I give them a heads up. You guys follow?
Yeah.
Okay? And the other thing is, when you meet really motivated sellers, they don't care what you do. If you meet like normal sellers that are like nitpicky, they'll care. But the reality is, I've never dealt with a direct seller that cared. Because I don't want to return their call, that's why. Questions? This is like the hardest part of the whole business. Okay? Go ahead.
So just to make sure I have this clear, so when you are trying to, when you're talking to the buyer's lawyer, you will tell them.
No, talk to the seller.
Oh, so-
When you talk to the seller, you gotta tell them. Like you have to be aware of something. Like you can be honest with the direct to seller. Meaning when you meet the sellers and they're the actual person that's losing their house and they're trying to sell, you can be 100% honest with them, and you should be 100% honest with them. Okay? It's just that you can't do it with realtors. Okay? As much as I want to be like, Mr. Realtor, I'm gonna flip this house. Okay? As soon as they hear that, they're gonna be like, I'm not gonna let Nick put this house under contract. Even though I'm a performer, they've worked with so many that has not performed, they hate the community. Okay? Lawyers, that's not their job. A lawyer's job is not to say, hey, this guy is a flipper, and because of that, you shouldn't sell your house to him. The lawyer's job is to say, hey, are you aware he could potentially flip this house? Okay? And he could make extra money on it. Okay? He doesn't say, oh, this guy might not close, mainly because he doesn't have that experience. His job isn't to manage those things. Do you follow? So, direct to the seller, I would be fully transparent. You don't have to hide anything. It's just the realtor community is the only people who gotta hide stuff from. And that's why this is how we do it. That's it.
I'm not sure if I'm jumping, but how is the consideration from the interest in the LLC at the time that you're selling it to the buyer? How is that paid out at closing?
Consideration of interest on LLC.
You're putting your name on as a member?
So typically I'm doing LLC transactions with realtors, right?
Right.
So because it's a realtor, they'll ask for like $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 earnest money. You guys follow? And you gotta conform to that. Okay? So when I do the agreement with the seller, okay, whatever that agreement is, I ask for twice as much as what I put down as the earnest money with the realtor. You guys follow? So if I put with the realtor 10,000 or 5, let's say 10,000, when I do the earnest money with the buyer for my transfer of interest, I'm gonna ask for twice as much as earnest money. Meaning, this is what you have to give me for me to give you the rights to be able to buy it. Now the whole assignment could be like 100 grand, okay? But for you to get this right to even buy this thing, you have to give me 20, and you can give me 80 once you close. Did I answer your question? Kind of, right?
You answered it with like another part of the question.
Okay.
What I want to know is how you pay from you being on as a member on the LLC that
How
you're.
am I gonna get paid?
Yeah.
They typically just give you, like, it can be paid, are you asking, is it paid in the HUD? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, you can be paid in the HUD, that's not a problem. You can pay in the HUD, they can give you a check where they don't even want you to show up for closing. It doesn't really
So
matter.
they have to show up with a check.
Yeah,
for it. Okay.
yeah. But honestly, just to, like, to be safe, just always make sure that it's on the HUD. Like, it's not a problem. Like, hard money lending companies don't have a problem funding these deals. The only lending companies that have a problem funding them is like conventional banks, like Wholesale, Bank of America, things like that. Other than that, assignments and LLC transactions are a normal thing in all the other financial institutions.
So the title company is aware of all.
They don't care. Yeah, they're getting paid. They don't care.
You mostly do deals with realtors or the sellers directly mostly?
I started off direct to seller,
Yeah.
okay, and then as time went by, I got really lazy, and I started working with realtors, and I love working with realtors because realtors run into more deals than we do, and we don't have to pay, we don't have to do any marketing, okay. So I prefer working with realtors.
Sorry, but Nick, will realtors tell you about like pre-MLS listings?
I'm not after pre-MLS. I'm after stuff right on MLS. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, is it wholesaling though, like, would you want to get like on the pre-MLS list, or?
Wholesaling is just getting a property under contract for the right price,
Yeah,
right? And then selling those rights to somebody else, right?
got it.
The pre-MLS stuff means before it hits MLS, the likelihood of them wanting to give us that is very low, right? Because they look at it as like, I have to put it on MLS so that way I can get a commission, right? And then if they're gonna give it to me before it hits MLS, they feel like I'm gonna cut them out.
Right, that's why I'm saying you wouldn't work that. You would just do it on your own.
No. So what I'm saying is, there are great deals also that are listed by agents,
Got it.
okay? Or it's a bad deal, but because it's been sitting in the market for so long, you are the person that only makes the only person in the world that makes an offer, okay? And because you're the only person that makes an offer, and because they hit a point where they're like, you know what? No one else has made an offer. I'm desperate. I'll submit this offer to the seller. Okay? By the way, a lot of times they don't, but that's why I said they're desperate. And the seller takes it, and I lock it up for a great deal. I can now sell it. Do you guys follow? So what I'm saying is there are also great deals on MLS. Okay? Don't shortchange that space. If anything, that space has more deals than off MLS deals.
Nick is in New York.
Not New York City, okay? But to be honest with you, I would say there are. It's just they look differently. Like they're not like 65, 70 cents a dollar. They're more like I gotta lock up this whole block, so that way I can tear down the whole block and put up a skyscraper. You follow? It's a different animal.
Can I override? I mean,
Continue.
what she was saying.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
I know what she's saying.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of realtors get properties and they would get 60 days, which she's talking about pre-MLS off the market. It'll say 60 days before they put it on the MLS. So what she's asking if, but that depends on the relationship between you and your realtor, because I get calls from realtor like, listen.
Are you talking about pocket listings?
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so pocket listings are different. Pocket listings
I
are.
think, is that what you meant?
I've never heard the term pocket
No.
listing, but no.
So a pocket listing is a
But
listing.
listings on like PropStream,
Yeah.
or like daily foreclosure.com or whatever, distressed buyers that you can find before it goes on the market to everybody, that you can go and sort of like contact, do like, you know, don't anybody knock on doors in New York, but sort of like that type of outreach when somebody is sort of in foreclosure.
So I'll talk about
That's what I'm
pocket
talking
listing. You're talking about pre-foreclosures.
Yes.
Okay, that's different. We're talking about MLS.
Okay.
So MLS is different than pocket list.
Yeah.
So what, let me
You
clear
can
up.
I thought that's what
wholesale
she said.
something that's on MLS, is what you're saying.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you can wholesale stuff. on
Without
MLS.
having a broker's license.
Correct.
Nick, on the MLS.
In New York.
Yeah.
Is this like when you see cash offer only or investor special or something like that?
Say it again?
Is this like when you see a listing on the MLS that says like, or investor special, cash offer only?
But why didn't you see that? I don't understand.
No, I'm asking if that's kind of like the type, an example, let's say, of one of the listings that you were targeting.
Okay, so I'll give you an example, right? I can spend like an hour here telling you guys how to do this, okay? So let me clear up how MLS deals work, okay? So there's a time when there are more great deals on MLS than there are deals off the MLS, okay?
In New York and
It's on the whole country.
Jersey?
The whole country. Okay. I got started off the MLS. Okay. I was doing a lot of deals not on MLS because every guru out there says there's no deals on MLS, and they also say once it hits the market, if it hits the market, it's too late. Would you guys agree? Right? Every guru says that. Okay. If you go back and look at look at what's called, type in Fred and look at the average sales price point of real estate around the country. But the Fred website is like is a site for like one of the financial institutions that manages money, and they'll show you a chart where prices of real estate in 2008 was like this high, okay, and then in 2011 it went down to like whatever the price is, okay. And that average price point was significantly lower than what it was in 2008. That was around 2011, once it hit the bottom. During 2011 and 2014, real estate prices were pretty much at rock bottom, okay? What I would tell you is that, like, I can do marketing and find deals let's say in a market that was like $1 million property, right? 2008. 2011, it would be like 500,000 or even less, okay? And I could do marketing and get that deal for 400,000, but it's not worth it, right? Because I can just go on the MLS and buy 10 of them. Do you guys follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For 500, you know? And so there was a point in the business where like it was irrelevant to buy stuff on or off. It was really, if anything, the same price because people weren't buying. You guys follow? And so what I got really good at was I got really good at negotiating with realtors. And looking at deals that are not, the reason why prices were all at that low price point was because no one was buying. And because no one was buying, I'll make an offer, 400,000. Okay, and then the agent will be like, no, I can't do 400. The seller wants more. But okay, you're gonna run into those cases. But what if you're going after only deals that's been on the market for more than 6 months? Or more than a year? Okay, there's no other offers. That's why it's been on the market for so long. Now they're gonna say this to you sometimes. Oh, Nick, we had a higher offer than yours. Because of that, you know, I don't think my seller will consider it. But you gotta tell them, I understand that. But what if their circumstance changed? You guys follow? And when you do MLS deals, the way we do it is we waive our right to get a commission. Because I have a lot of guys that work for me that are agents, but my agents will waive their right to get a commission. And so the agent that has the listing is getting both sides. Okay? So that's as if they're selling the house for twice as much as what my offer is.
Is that called double agency? Like-
Yeah, dual agency,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's legal here in New York?
It's legal anywhere.
I heard some people say some states are not.
No, it's,
No, in New York and New Jersey, dual agency is legal as long as the seller agrees to it.
go ahead.
Do we have to look at your credentials, like your background, when you're doing the deals, like, you know, you say with records and stuff? So do they look at all the things you've done in the past to
Who?
work with you, like, when you're doing the contracts with people or develop deals or anything? Take care
I
of
don't
your-
show them anything about my past. I just submit an offer like this.
Okay, you know.
Yeah, I don't tell them I've done 100 deals or something like that. No, I don't tell them anything. I just show them this. I show them proof of funds.
Yeah.
That's what
A
Jeff said, that's
a
good.
lot of realtor ask for proof of funds,
Yeah.
is that a common thing? That
Yeah,
you-
it's a normal thing, standard, yeah.
Yeah.
I just show them proof of funds. I put a contract correctly together, proof of funds, and then if they say, oh, we don't want to consider your offer, I ask them why. That's it. Go ahead.
So essentially, when you're working with MLS listings, you're filtering for like failed listings, essentially as
Yeah,
as part
it's
of
a
like the
game, yeah.
motivated.
But
okay.
I'm telling you, there's a market where, like, everything, like for example, let's say the market goes down next year, okay? And if it's gonna go down next year, do you think owner occupant sales are gonna be high? Yes or no? High, yes or no? No, because people think it's gonna go down more. Would you guys agree? All right, so that's when realtors become very cooperative to work with, because they don't even have an offer to deny your offer, right? I think inventory went up in the last month because of the rising interest rates, okay? And rates are gonna keep going up. Yes, I'm aware rates went down this month after the interest rate hike on the 27th, okay? But they can only go down so far, because there's what's called the rate that they lend to each other as a bank, and then the rate that they lend out. Okay, and the rate that they lend out is right now at 4.6, and the Fed rate I think is like at around 3. Okay, but if the Fed's gonna keep raising their rates, okay, if let's say the Fed raises their rates to 4.6, and the bank lends it out at 4.6, they're not making any money. You follow what I'm saying? So they have to go up. They only went down because the rate that they were at stopped the market so hard that they weren't making even enough money to keep their doors open. And so they lowered it to entice the market back in. But the Fed rates are going to continue going up. So it's just a matter of when it's going to happen. Go ahead.
And then I had a separate question. So, unrelated to that, the people that you work with that you said are realtors that are waiving their
Yeah.
fee, what is your relationship with them like? That they're like, what's the incentive for them?
Oh yeah,
to-
like they're just my deal finders for me. So what I do is I give them the listing if I on the resale.
Okay.
Which leads to my next question. When you're selling, do you send to end users or other fix and flippers? Like what's
It
your?
depends. Like so we're like a different animal now because we don't just wholesale anymore. We buy them and we keep them and we sell. So we raise money and things like that. So we're different now. Like for wholesale transactions where we know we're gonna sell the contract, it's typically my guys that work with me like full time. Like Elijah, he's an agent. Greg, he's an agent. So they're like more like in-house guys. They'll make money with me somewhere else. Okay, either through originating a loan or when I sell the property, I'll give them a cut of the deal. If not now, eventually. You follow? But as for the agents that are like we randomly meet or things like that, or like it's just these two guys and a bunch of other guys that I work with. They're all agents, so they're all my in-house guys. I don't have like random agents that are finding me deals and bringing it to me. I know a lot of agents that are very successful at doing their own thing once they hit that point. But they're mostly in-house guys, is what I'm saying. Go ahead. You had a question? Okay. Any other one? I want to get into marketing. Okay. Go ahead.
Quick question, what do you mean by proof of funds?
Yeah, we're gonna get there. So let me talk about proof of funds right now. So when you put a sales contract together with the seller, direct with the seller, okay? Meaning I did marketing, I met a homeowner, he's going for foreclosure, he wants to sell his house. I meet with him, he's telling me he'll sell it to me for whatever price I want, blah, blah, blah. When you meet a really, really motivated seller, they don't ask you for anything. They don't ask you for proof of funds, they don't ask to see your bank statement, they don't ask you for experience, they don't ask you for anything. They just want to have someone to talk to that they can connect with and feel that this person, through conversation, that I believe you can help me sell this property or solve this problem. That's it. That's direct to seller. And then as you move up the ladder, the total opposite is you're buying deals through the MLS. Okay, that's the opposite game, where you're working through a realtor. The realtor is gonna write a sales contract for you, okay, and you're gonna do the sales contract with this. They're gonna also want to know that you have the money to buy the property, okay? And so where do you get proof of funds? So we actually just started a lending business. We just got into the lending business, and because of that, we can actually issue proof of funds, okay? It's just that we just started, okay? And because of that, I don't wanna like get Greg writing 100 proof of funds, okay? So I'm gonna send you guys somewhere else, okay? There are hard money lending companies that will issue you a proof of funds. All you gotta do is just Google like local hard money lenders, and then from there tell them that you wanna buy this deal, okay? They're gonna ask you for an address. And then you gotta tell them, okay, the address, the sales price that you're gonna buy that, and then they're gonna print you out a proof of funds. Now some of them are gonna charge you for it, okay? Like Asset-Based Lending or ABL.net, they're like a really big hard money lending company in the area. They'll charge you like $200 for it. $250, okay? But their proof of funds will come with also a bank statement. Meaning they'll give you a bank statement that says that this money is in the account. You guys follow? Okay? There are other lending companies where they'll give you proof of funds. It'll look like it's an official proof of funds, but it doesn't come with a bank statement. Okay? And then there are also the freebie proof of funds sites.
Ghetto.
Yeah. By the way, he started off with that, and so did I, because we didn't have money, you know. But proof of funds is something that you really only need to be able to show if you're doing MLS deals. Okay. If you're doing like direct to seller, they don't normally like direct to seller. A normal seller that's selling a house, they don't know what proof of funds is. They don't know what the difference between earnest and deposit or down payment money is. You guys agree? Right? And because of that, the language is totally different. Like you really can't mess up if you get direct to seller. But in the realtor community, when you do deals with the realtor community, you have to really know what everything is and match it up to the reality. So proof of funds is only something you need if you're going to do MLS deals. Questions?
You do directly, strictly realtors now?
You know, whatever comes, I'll take it. You know, it's my point is like if you know how to play both sides, you can always make money. If you only know how to play one side, you only know how to play that way. You know, so I know how to do both. Okay.
In working with the hard money lender, do you have to so you're gonna give them the sales price?
Yeah, everything. Give them all the information, and you can even tell them I'm gonna wholesale this deal. They're not gonna care.
What if you're gonna you're looking to like flip it? Do you have to give them comps to?
No, I don't need any of that.
No.
They're just gonna do a proof of funds. Like once you're actually gonna buy the house,
Yeah.
if you actually decide to buy it,
Right.
then they're gonna ask you to typically do an appraisal, or
Okay.
they have in-house guys that are really good at valuing properties. Like there's hard money lending companies that won't do an appraisal.
Okay.
Okay, that doesn't need one
Okay.
because they're really good at comping out properties.
Okay.
So, and they're lending their own money. Typically, a hard money lending company that's lending out money that's raised, they have to do an appraisal.
Okay. Would they ask you for like a scope of the work that you're gonna do in the property?
To get the appraisal
To
going.
get the appraisal, yeah, but to get the proof of funds, no.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So what have you had for, how many times have you had a buyer before you had a property under contract?
That's called reverse buying, right? Reverse wholesaling. You know, when you get started in the beginning, you don't have nobody, okay? And what I'm trying to say is you don't have to have somebody before you start. Because you have to know something. This is the thing you gotta know. Chances are your first deal is gonna be a bad deal. Meaning, you probably put it in a contract for a really high price. Okay? Because you don't know how to value correctly yet. You're using Zillow, Trulia, or Property Street, whatever, to come up with value. Okay? And that's not necessarily as accurate as having an MLS yourself to use. Okay? And what I would say is put it in a contract and get comfortable with getting out of contract. Do you guys follow?
Yeah.
Like a lot of us won't start until we find this amazing deal. But chances are, because if you don't do anything too long, even when you run into that amazing deal, you're gonna not do it. Because you're so used to your pattern. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is, if you want to break this pattern fast, go home tonight, do some emails on for sale by owners around the area, make an offer. Okay? It's